Hello there, my name is Shegun Oduyebo. You're welcome to Fulfillment Inspiration. Today we are going to continue where we stopped on the subject thriving in a challenging environment. And specifically, I'm talking to those of you who have found yourself in an environment that is quite challenging. Like we said, there are about three categories of environment. There are environments that are okay, everything is set, developed environment, everything is all right, everything is rolling, you are fine, the environment supports your progress as it were. Every resource that you need is available and things are fine for you. And there are environments that we call developing environments where things are not absolutely fine, but they are not very, very bad. They're just in the middle line. And then you have environments that are underdeveloped, very challenging. Everything seems to be in the raw state. It's like being in a company that is just starting, pioneering, and then they don't even have money to pay salary. They cannot even pay you half salary, and you have to start within that environment. Quite a number of people have found themselves in challenging environment, and they have not known how to succeed, how to thrive, and that's what we are dealing with in this series. Today, I'm going to be talking about the need for you to accept the place that you have the location that you have found yourself, because it's important to actually identify that place and accept in your heart that this is where God wants you to be. I have found that once you cannot accept in your heart, you cannot accept a place in your mind, it is difficult to succeed there. So your first thing is that you've got to come to a point where you accept that, okay, this is where God has put you, and then as you accept the fact that, accept the reality, come to terms with it. Some people just find themselves in a location, they are there for 10 years with a mind that they are going to relocate, and within that 10 years that they are there, they are not making any progress. I've talked to quite a number of people. I live in I live in the interland, in a place called Elisha, and sometimes you're talking to some young men, young women, and they are telling you about, they are planning to travel abroad, they want to go to the US, they want to go to UK. Of course, some will say they probably want to go to a place like Lagos or Ibadan in Nigeria. And then you find out that 5 years they have not really left because situation is not allowing them to leave, and yet they are not making progress with their lives. What should rather happen is that for the phase of your life that you find yourself in a location, accept the reality that this is where God has put me for the now. Because sometimes it might just be for a season, for a period in your life, and then God will move you to the next thing. But while you are there, while it is the place that God has put you, you've got to take responsibility. Accept it as, okay, this is where God has put me, and then accept responsibility. Become responsible. And when I'm talking about you become responsible, there are works that God have assigned for you to do in the location that He has put you. Paul the Apostle was talking to us in Ephesians chapter 2 verse 10, and he says something like this. He says, we are God's special design that God has created to do good works, which God had planned for us to do before the foundations of the earth. And guess what? The good works that you are designed to do, they are location specific. God has planned that certain period of your life that you are going to be in certain place, and there are works to be done in that place. So when you find yourself in a location that God has planted you, you've got to find out what are the works that God wants you to do there, and then apply yourself according to the uniqueness of that your environment. Apply yourself to work on your environment based on the uniqueness of your environment. Every environment is not the same, and so the way you will apply yourself in location A may not be the same way you will apply yourself in location B. So you've got to sit down to understand the dynamics and the uniqueness of your environment. And that makes me to talk about the fact that you need, when the other time we talk about you discovering yourself so that you know what you have. And so when you have to apply yourself, you have to make input according to your capacity. Check what God has put on the inside of you, the potentials that God has put on the inside, and see how you have developed yourself. Because when God put potentials on the inside of you, you are supposed to be developing yourself. So based on how developed you are, the level of your capacity, apply yourself. Apply yourself where you are. Start doing something. I love the way the Bible puts it in the book of Proverbs. It says, whatsoever your hands finds to do, it said, do it with all of your mind. So apply yourself with all of your mind. That may not be where you will get to ultimately. Where you are going is farther than where you are, but apply yourself where you are, and then step by step you begin to move, make progress. Then as you are applying yourself, keep expanding your capacity, keep growing. People who really make a difference in their generation, they are people who are growing. You need to keep growing, expanding yourself, enlarging your capacity, enlarging your coast. Read wide, go for apprenticeship, serve under a mentor, look for someone to help you, so that by all means your ability to function is expanding by the day. You are not limited, you are not reduced to a particular level. Some time ago I met a man who was into business of repairing batteries and doing this thing, and I found out that for several years that I've known him, he had not really changed. The same way, the same location, the same style he uses. It's only a fool that does the same thing the same way all the time and expect a different result. If you are going to thrive and survive in a challenging environment, while certain things remain constant, many things in methodology will change. So while you are applying yourself, try to understand the things that are changing and change with it. Once upon a time, there were so many secretaries that were used to typewriter and the manual one, and then they were so stuck to it, so that when computer came, many of them did not change. And then as the manual typewriter was fading out, they faded out with it. I was talking to a woman some time ago, the corporate affairs manager of an international corporation. And as I was discussing with her, she was telling me about the fact that she was working with her company. While she was working with her company, initially what she knew how to use was the manual typewriter. And then as soon as she saw that the technology of computer was coming in, she had to swing on it. No wonder when the change phase came, she was able to go higher in your environment, study the dynamics of change that are necessary, and begin to move as you expand your capacity. And while you are doing that, keep your focus. I cannot overemphasize that. Keep your focus. Because if you don't keep your focus, you may think you are not making too much progress, or you may be distracted by other factors. Reason being that the energy you need in a challenging environment is different from those who are in developed environments. And so you need all your energy to be concentrated, because you must make a difference. And God trusted you. God has so much confidence in you before putting you where you are.